What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Sagittarius Speaks. I am your host, Bitchy Nikki, and today we're going to be talking about the disappearance of Larry Moncada. And this is going to be more of a mystery than true crime today because there's really no satisfying or believable answers to this case. And it's been on my mind heavy for about 2 months. And I've been wanting to talk about it for a while, but I've just been digging and trying to get some answers. But I didn't. But we're going to talk about it anyway here. So let's go, y'all. Okay, y'all. So it's November 2009, and Larry ran out of his house, angry as hell. Earlier that day, his mama said that he was hallucinating and hearing voices, and overall, it was just a really hard day for Larry. But what makes this even worse and even more bizarre is when Larry stormed out of the house, he didn't have on no shoes, he didn't have on no coat, he had nothing. And it's November, y'all, so it's cold. And not only is it cold, it's a snowstorm. And he left with nothing. And after he left, this was the last time we ever saw Larry again. Well, at least for another 10 years. So Larry was born on August 22nd, and him and his parents are originally from the Honduras. But they migrated to America when Larry was really young, and they established life in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Now, by the time, 2009 rolls around, Larry is 25 years old and still living with his parents, Victor and Anna. Unfortunately for Larry, he struggled with mental health. As a result, he had been prescribed, antidepressants. Y'all know how medicine works. With every medicine, there's a side effect. You know how the commercials tell you how the medicine helps you and shit, and then at the end there's a voice speaking really low or really fast, or all the damn side effects and how it could possibly kill you. Yeah. Larry had terrible ass side effects for this medicine, and his side effects included hearing voices and hallucinating. And I don't even want to imagine how this made Larry feel, because imagine being mentally ill and you go and get medicine to try to make yourself feel better, and the medicine makes you feel even worse and crazier than you felt before. Like, that is fucked up. So, okay, it's November 27th, 2009, the day after Thanksgiving, when Larry storms out of the house with no keys, no car, no phone, no coat, straight into the snowstorm. But like I just mentioned, Larry was mentally ill. So this is not a reoccurring thing, but it's not something that he's only done once. So his parents were worried, but they're like, okay, he's going to blow off some steam. Larry will be back in a couple of hours. Unfortunately, Larry was not back in a couple of hours. And once he didn't return by a certain time, his parents began to get really, really worried. And so them, a couple other family members and friends, they went out to go search for Larry. The search was unsuccessful, and they ended up having to file a police report and whatever. So when they filed the police report, they let the police know that Larry was on antidepressants and it had him acting sporadic. And they also told the police that Larry would probably be somewhere that he felt safe. The police of Council Bluff, Iowa did a shitty job, but they swore that they tried their best because they called immigration, hospitals, they checked the morgues, they checked other police stations, but they could not find Larry anywhere. Now, it's worth mentioning that before Larry went missing, he had a job at this place called No Frill Supermarket. No Frill Supermarket is like Jewel, but in Canada. And they have, most of their stores are in Canada, But it's a couple of stores in America. I think it's one. They said it was one in Nebraska and it was one in Iowa because it's closed now. But we getting there. We getting there. So, the police said they checked all those places and they could not find Larry anywhere. They didn't have no leads or anything. They even checked the store and they couldn't find him. Coworkers said they hadn't seen him. It was not looking good for Larry. And Larry's parents were starting to get even, more sad and depressed about it. Larry's dad even said, "We went out to find him, my wife and I. We got up early and we couldn't find anything. It felt like the earth swallowed him whole." And man, that's messed up. That hurt my heart the first time I read it. Because I don't even want to imagine one of my kids coming up missing. Because I'm going to go missing too. Because what? And then the constant anxiety day and night, like not knowing where your child is, not knowing if they're okay. And then he left his phone at home, so there's no way for y'all to track him, contact him, nothing. This is an extremely scary situation, and I really, really hate this for everybody involved. But back to the story. No Frills supermarket got closed in 2016. In 2019, contractors were sent out to remove the freezers and all the equipment out of the store. I don't know why the hell it took 3 years, but it did. And when they were removing the freezers, that's when they found Larry's mummified body. Trigger warning, y'all. I'm finna get angry as hell because the further we get into this story, the less and less it makes sense. And I think this story really got me in a chokehold because it has so many similarities, to me at least, to the Kanika Jenkins case. And if you don't know who Kanika Jenkins is, it was this black girl who went to a hotel with some friends, was missing, and they found her in the damn walk-in freezer. And that story is just, it don't make no sense. The footage is all chopped up. You see her walking in the freezer, but you'll never see her walk out. I don't think nobody ever got charged. Why the hell was she going in the freezer? Like, it's so many unanswered questions for that case as well as this one. And I think that's what really has me in the chokehold, because I haven't seen a case like this in a couple of years. And this is really saddening. And somebody needs to be in jail. So, after Larry disappeared, people say that his parents visited the supermarket often. And his parents even said like they were kind of drawn to the store because they felt like their son was there, but they just could not prove it. And this shit is giving me inside job, because if the police searched the damn supermarket, how did we not find Larry sooner than 10 years later? 2009 to 2019, he was allegedly behind this freezer. That don't make no kind of sense. This man was behind the freezer so long, y'all. They couldn't even identify him like by looking at him. They had to get his parents' DNA to identify this man. And that's just sad as hell. He did not get the justice he deserved at all. Council Bluff Police Department, y'all sorry as hell. And why I say that is because I was reading and it said that the staff told the police that they used to climb up on the freezers and, kick it back there to hide from customers and relax and get away from work. And they did not check these back rooms where he was found at. They did not check them bitches at all. Larry's mom constantly advocated for them to do a thorough search through the store, and they kept telling her she's not allowed to, and they kept denying her. And when she would ask them questions about Larry and if anybody had seen him, they just simply would not respond. Like, well, it's not my problem. And when they did an autopsy, the autopsy said that his death was quote unquote accidental, and there are no signs of foul play or trauma. And that sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me. I'm not even going to hold you. None of this shit makes sense. This is what the police said, y'all. The police said they think he went to No Frills to relax after he got into the argument and shit at his house. And the freezer, first of all, the freezer he climbed on top of is 12 feet tall. So they said he climbed on top of this freezer and allegedly fell in between the 18-inch gap, in between the freezer and the wall. And they said nobody heard him screaming for help because the industrial freezers would be too loud for anybody to hear his screams for help. And then they also said the dry and cold conditions behind the freezer is what mummified his body and masked the smell of a dead body. Bullshit. And management was asked why the CCTV footage wasn't checked. They said it was because, quote unquote, he wasn't scheduled to work that day. And since it's been 10 years, they don't know where the fuck the footage is. Y'all, are we on the same page now? Because this grocery store is suspicious as hell. Like, all of this shit sound like a bunch of lies. Have y'all ever smelled a dead body? I've never smelled a dead body, thank the Lord. But whenever you hear about somebody talking about smelling a dead body or you read about it, they say it's a distinct smell that never leaves your motherfucking nose. You ain't gonna tell me that a grocery store refrigerator masked the smell of a dead, decaying, mummified body. Like, be so for real. And then they talking about some mask to smell. When you look up on this shit, there's literal Facebook posts about how No Frills smell bad. I'm going to read it to y'all, but I'm going to post it as well. I shop there all the time, and it smelled horrible. I even asked the butcher one time if the back area was dirty with dried blood from cutting the meat, and he said no, it was really clean. It smelled for a long time. We went there once, and the smell was so strong back there by the coolers that it made me sick, and I had to leave. Never went back again. So what fucking smell was masked? How the hell was No Frills in business from 2009 until 2016 and it smelled like dead bodies in there? Y'all didn't clean behind them damn freezers for 10 years. Ugh. Y'all, oh my God. Y'all. Somebody's lying. Somebody is lying, and I have no idea who. But as of right now, as far as I'm concerned, No Frills Supermarket and the police department is in cahoots. Because how y'all search everywhere except for where the employees said they would kick it at? How many times was people complaining about it smelling like dead fucking bodies in there and nobody went in to investigate? Like, y'all failed Larry and his parents, and y'all sorry as fuck. Like, I feel so bad for Larry's parents. And when I was looking at the interviews, it don't even look like they really speak English. So they probably won't ever get the justice they deserve because of that. Even though they migrated over here and get jobs and are hardworking Americans, they are going to treat them motherfuckers like immigrants and illegal aliens. And they going to keep treating them how they been treating them. They didn't give a fuck that Larry was missing for real, because y'all didn't. If y'all gave a fuck that Larry was missing, y'all would have thoroughly searched No Frills Supermarket. Y'all would have ran the CCTV footage to see where the fuck Larry was at. Y'all would have questioned them employees more thoroughly to see if anybody seen Larry that day. They told y'all that their son was on antidepressants, acting sporadic, and ran out into a snowstorm, basically in his motherfucking pajamas, and y'all was just like, well, we don't know what to say. Like, sick. That is sick as hell. Like, putting your trust in the police for them to basically say fuck you. Like, so much shit could have happened to that man other than him falling behind the freezer. He was mentally ill. That's running through the streets, and y'all just did not care. And you cannot change my mind. You can't convince me that they did care, because they handled this case so poorly. Ain't no way it took y'all 10 years to find that man behind the damn freezer. I'm disgusted. And this week episode clearly is going to be way shorter than other true crime episodes, because we don't have no damn information other than Larry ran out the house. They looked for him. They didn't find him. And they found him 10 years later because the city of Council Bluffs, Iowa is trifling as fuck. Like, I don't know what to say. This case pisses me off, as does most of the cases. And justice for Larry Moncada and his parents. And I'll see y'all next week for Messy Monday.